Okay, that did it. All right. Good morning. Whew. Yeah. Uh, um, oh. Yeah, I took a bad trade this morning. Oh. Um, yeah, but the news that's coming out isn't going to be. We already had the big news. Uh, yeah. Final GDP numbers and unemployment came out at 8:30. Uh, GDP went up by 0.5%. Unemployment went down further than expected. I mean, right now, yeah, all the numbers coming out are better than expected. So, um, yeah, I think so. Just because we just touched on the 15 minute, we broke through the 4 hour dealing range I had yesterday, which I expected. Um, and we came into the bigger 4 hour dealing range right into the midline of this bullish fair value gap at the 75 DRT on the higher, the bigger 4 hour range that I've got. So now I kind of expect us to go back up. We might shoot down at the open just to uh, rebalance that gap, but yeah, and then head back up. Um, I got a 15-minute DRT range here, and we're at the 75% of it and the 75% of the higher 4 hour dealing range. I'm going to take this 4 hour dealing range off because we broke through and closed below that low, that's what I was expecting us to do. So now we just have to see where we end up uh, there. I don't expect to break the higher 4 hour dealing range because the low of it is at 46,020. Um, and that's a big round number at 46,000 even. So I wouldn't think that we're going to go down and break that. Uh, but we'll have to see. Um, yeah, I should have waited on my trade this morning because we created a 15-minute gap. The SMA started spreading out, and we had that uh, 1 hour dealing range, um, or the small 4 hour dealing range that I was expecting to break the low at. And I saw the 15-minute candle start moving down at 7:45, um, and I took a short there, but we hadn't really gotten into the fair value gap that was made first. And of course, it hit it broke below, but then immediately reversed and stopped me out because I got in real close to the end of that 15-minute candle right around 8 o'clock. And the next candle just reversed and went back up. But then we hit the midline of that 15-minute fair value gap that was made, and then we shot below uh, 46,361 area. And that's where I should have taken the trade, was from the midline of that fair value gap, not just a push down without touching that gap yet. So that was just a bad decision on my end. Uh, so yeah, now I'm just waiting to see where the open goes. Uh, See if we shoot down for any more liquidity out of that gap, or if the midline's going to hold and push us back up. Yeah, but on the 15, we hit our third push right into liquidity. But like I said, the open gave us another manipulation move down just to take some others out there. The 50% of this 15-minute DRT level is close to the bottom of that fair value gap. So if we go into extreme discount on the 15-minute DRT, then we should be able to uh, rebalance that big gap, maybe leave the little one below it open, and then start pushing our way back up. So I've got all my DRT or all my uh, ICT indicators on Ninja now. LuxAlgo, I didn't know LuxAlgo started making their indicators for other platforms. I thought they were always just TradingView. But evidently, over some time ago, they started making them to put on NinjaTrader as well. Yeah, because they don't put all the standard indicators on, and you can't use third-party indicators, right? I know. I mean, even with the Ninja chart, well, I was trying to get the 2-minute and the 15-minute Ninja charts up with all the LuxAlgo ICT stuff, and it just evidently it's just too much. I don't know because before I could get both charts completely set up, it would lock up on me. So I've just put the 2-minute Ninja chart up, and I've got my 15-minute TradingView chart. And for now, that's all I can do until I can figure out what's going on with it getting locked up. Ooh. If we invert that 15-minute gap, we may not go back down. That's a strong push. Too bad it's too close to the open for me to turn the bot on. Hmm. Yeah, that's a big push. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, we're running right back up into the 15-minute 9 EMA as well. Oh, another fair value gap. So yeah, like I'm waiting for that indicate the new indicators to drop. from Doug. It's going to make things a whole lot easier to trade an ICT system. I'm excited. We just inverted a pretty big gap on the 2 minute, right at the pivot point, uh, one of the support level pivot points. So, um, hmm, that that does extend us pretty good from the 15-minute 200 as well. So I can see us working our way back up there, but we're gonna have some resistance along the way. Unless they just blast through them all because of the news numbers coming out so good. Yeah, we're blasted right back off that 15-minute gap. That 4 hour DRT level was, I mean, lined up right at the midline of that gap. So we may not even go back down and sweep. We'll see. If not, I'll wait for a pullback to the 2 minute 9 and get a color change off that to go higher. Uh, Hey everybody, I am going to uh, step away for a moment. I will be right back. I'm not too worried about missing the open for a minute or two, so we'll see you then. There's there's a pushback to the midline of the inverted cap. Right before the open. Yeah, yeah. Let's see if we go swipe the low. It's a pretty good push off the 15-minute 9. And away we go. Yeah, I'm gonna take my long. I'm gonna put my longs on here. Uh, Even just getting back to the 9, I think if I can get a signal. I wouldn't mind it going down and sweeping first before I get a buy signal, but I don't know if we're going to. Yeah, we might. Did sweep a couple of 2-minute swing lows there. Well, we might have double bottom on one of them. Hmm. Damn shame it printed a bearish there. would have preferred a bullish signal on that bar. Should have just had a manual entry on that button on that one. It was almost a tap of VWAP. Breaker bar on the 1 minute. That's a swipe of the low and a rebalance of the gap. Well, not a rebalance of the 15 minute, but rebalance of that 1 minute. Oh wait, 1 minute. That's that. Okay, that's an inverted. Damn. Hit target. Target 1 on the breaker block. No, did you? There wasn't a fair value gap made, wasn't it? There wasn't a fair value gap made outside the 5 minute range, was it? Oh, that one. Okay, I see it. Hey, that's $520 for the morning. Yeah, nice trade. Yeah, somewhere down here, I think. I think we are. Yeah, just tag a 15 minute midline of the last quadrant, the 15 minute dealing range. I might even go down and swipe the 15 minute dealing range. Damn, I should have got on the 1 minute chart a little sooner. We had a 1 minute breaker block and it tagged it perfectly. Put out the signal for a short, and it's hit target number 1 and target number 2 now. Turn my longs off for a minute. All that good news and price just keeps going down. It does some shit. Support level number 2 for the day on the pivots. All right, good deal. Now that works out well. Looks like we're going to make the first 5-minute fair value gap of the morning. See if it gets inverted. That's a okay. So that's a possible 15-minute gap as well if we stay down here. It's going to take some strength to get back up because that's 15 minutes. SMAs are pretty damn good angle. Stay short. Unless we move up from here. Which I do like the possibility of happening. Hmm. So we've closed the 15-minute gap down there. We haven't inverted it yet, though. This one. Did we rebalance the little one below it? No. Close, but no cigar. That's about the midline of it, though. Let's see if we can get back to the upside and not create a 15-minute fair value gap this morning to the downside. I would love to see run up. See if I can get these on here without locking up my damn computer. Yeah, not looking too good down here. We were looking really good over there. The pop-up just kind of screwed everything around. We got 10 minutes before 10 o'clock. Okay, there will be no 15-minute fair value gap. I am in favor of taking longs here. Ooh. Do have an over 2-minute order block up here. On top of that order block is sitting right at VWAP. Oh. Money flows leading the way. Stochastics are turning up, but not quite yet spreading. Good job, Sam. We are at 10 o'clock. The question is, are we going to get our reversal? Ugh. Oh, shit. What the hell? That was my mistake again. I don't know why generator turned off. Oh, because I changed. I put a new indicator on the chart. Didn't turn the generator back on. Tell you what, getting used to these things can be a pain in the butt, but we'll get there. Had more operator errors than anything. Okay. Let's see, where is the 9? Keep that down here for now. 56, 12, 72. Be 40 points. I've only got one contract on, so I'm not too worried about it. Now we've got some size on. Nope. We ended up right where we were. This just sucks. That just sucks. We missed it. No, that's fine. Get our pullback. Quit screwing that up. I'll be all right. That would have already been a winning trade. See something here. I'm pretty sure I blew that account yesterday. Let's see. Yep. That was the only account there, right? Hmm. Okay. Oh, that's frustrating. Again, if I'd had everything set up right, that would have been a very nice trade. 308. About 60 points so far. Would have got back all my losses from the shitty trade I took this morning. Wasn't a bad trade. I was just in too early. So if anybody's watching on my charts, we made this 15-minute fair value gap, and this was the low of a DRT level that I was expecting to break, but we just barely tapped the fair value gap on the 7:30 candle. On the 7:45 candle, we started moving down, and I entered a trade pretty much at the close of that candle, expecting to break through that a little bit and get down to this fair value gap. Well, we didn't. It stopped me out. And then we went and we hit the midline of the fair value gap that was made and then rolled over and went to where I was expecting price to go. So I should have waited until we got up there to the midline of that fair value gap before I took the short. So that's where my losses came from this morning, and that's what I said. I took a bad trade into the low of a DRT level. So that was just taking a bad trade. And then the good trade, we didn't have everything set up right again, and we missed it. So we'll wait and see if we can't get a pullback to the 2-minute SMAs and then get a color change off that and hopefully grab a signal from there. Because I think we are going to head back up some today. I don't know how far. We've got important numbers coming out tomorrow. Um, yeah, PCE numbers come out tomorrow. Uh, so I don't know how far we're going to actually move today, but hopefully we can at least catch a nice small trade somewhere, get some of that loss back. But not going to rush it, not going to force it. We're still up for the week, so yeah, this is where go ahead and invert this 15-minute fair value gap right here, which looks like we're going to do. Oh, come on, get back up there just a little bit before you close. If we can invert that gap and get a pullback into that inverted gap and then push back up off of it to get back above the 21, then that should give us a long signal for a trade. But we need to get back above that fair value gap and close above it in the next 15 seconds. No, it's not going to do it. I'll probably do it on the next bar though. Okay. We do have. Oh shit, did I miss it? Well, the bot's not going to take it. This would be a manual trade. Um, no, I don't think I haven't missed it yet. We haven't got back down into it far enough. But we have a breaker bar here uh, where we inverted that order block. So we'll see if we can't get a pullback down into that. Would be nice. That would also give us a bullish signal, I believe. And we are um, the indicators that Doug is working on and trying to put out that y'all noticed. Uh, Host yesterday posted in Discord that he was working on some indicators that would help uh, Easel with his 5-minute orb trade. He's also that those set of indicators will also very greatly help me trade my ICT system. Um, so I wouldn't have to wait for it to pull back and then print a bullish shift on a riptide. I would be able to take the trade where I want to. Um, so I know Doug's working really, really hard. Hey, so I know Doug's working really, really hard on Hazel. You're breaking up pretty bad. So we did get our 10 o'clock reversal. I missed it. But we've got some good area. We got a good breaker bar down here to get into a trade if we get a decent pullback here. But again, yeah, Doug's working hard on getting those indicators out and getting them set up to where we can plot them, take signals off of them, uh, or create signals with them in generator. So that's going to be fun when that gets out because the SMA strategies and the ICT stuff all works together for the most part. All right, so I would definitely like to see us stay above VWAP. And get a signal here because we've come down into the breaker bar. We're rejecting off of it, rejecting off the 9, rejecting off VWAP. The 21 still has a good ways to catch up, but then we still have to break above the 15-minute 21, and we do have this order block above us. But I think we can catch a good enough trade, certainly at least catch our 10 points for the first target if we get a signal here. Uh, to run off of. So let's see what happens. We could pull back a little bit further, but I'd like to see this fair value gap stay open as well. So looks like we did touch right off pretty much the midline of that gap. maybe a little lower, and then took off to the upside. So I'd like to see some continuation now on this last 15-minute bar to break us above the 15-minute 21. Cool. Get us above the 2-minute 200. Now it's going to be a high resistance move to the upside, but I think we can get there. Might be hitting a lot of first targets and then getting stopped out at break even, but get a little consolidation here. Let the 2-minute 21 catch up a little bit. Be okay with that. Yeah, that would have been another full trade right there off the break a block. That line. Would have been a 50-point trade. 346 to 396. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and we're going to get a signal right into this 15-minute fair value gap. Let's see some power so we can get through it. 5 minutes left. Now, stochastics are nice and tight up here. I like that, but I want to see money flow get back up there, which means we should get at least another little push up before we start looking at a pullback. Where is our buy side liquidity? I don't think I have it on that chart. There it is, up here. That's where it's up here at 493. About another 100 points. That gets us back above equilibrium on the 15-minute DRT levels. Where's that? That's not the 15-minute. That's the 4-hour, I do believe. Yep. It would be the 4-hour DRT equilibrium. Or is that the 15? That's the 4-hour. That's the 15. I need to change colors on that so I don't get confused. The 15-minute has bigger text on it. Or brighter, anyway. That one's in there. Oh, we don't have a signal to the upside yet. Ooh. Don't think we've got. Trying to think if this signal was. The signal was for the breaker block. And the stop loss would have been there. But we came right back to that and bounced off of it. But we should have targets sitting up here. I don't see any targets. And I don't think we. Yeah, actually did stop out by a couple ticks there. If you're taking the trade. Maybe that's why the targets went off. 20 seconds left. You're kidding. We're still not going to close above that fair value gap. Well, we may be headed down then. This fair value gap on the 15-minute is holding. We haven't, in the last two bars, we have not been able to close above and invert that gap. to have this 15-minute gap here. So I would absolutely love to come down and hit the midline of that one. And then take off to the upside. And then that is 329. Oh, I would just completely screw up. Well, okay. That would also be the midline of the breaker block. On the 2-minute chart. Huh. Come on down. Bounce off the 21. We get a color change off the 21. We'll get into a trade. Or you can bounce strongly off a VWAP. That's fine too. So I have consolidated long enough for the 21 to catch up. So we're at 388. 90, that would be 70, 80 points up to equilibrium. By the time we got in a trade, it'd be about 60. Maybe a little more. Ooh. Alright, so 10:30 has happened. So that is our 9:30 candle. We have, oh, oh really? I don't have that in there? You gotta be kidding me. Initial balance. Style. Dotted line. Okay. And then 10:30, 10:15 to 10:30. That is the initial balance high. I didn't save the template. Oh well, that's alright. So it's high, we're in a trade. Look at that. So, love to go break the initial balance high here. If not, at least momentarily, to get us our first target profit on this trade. All right, first target hit. And let's stop out break even. We did make $100 off that one. Got a little bit of our losses back there. And I still don't mind. We'll have to see the next 4 minutes, but hopefully this candle will finally invert that 15-minute fair value gap. And as long as we do that, then that should hold up as some pretty good support if we come back to it again, which we may, because the 9 is still way down here. In this fair value gap down here, so we could certainly come back and retest that. I'm going to turn longs off for the moment. But I would expect this fair value gap is probably going to not be touched because if we are now back on the buy side of the market maker model, um, which I suspect we very well could be, to go back up and towards all-time highs, especially with tomorrow's news. We have a fair value gap at the 75% 4-hour DRT level. So that could be our breakaway gap there to start the buy side of the model, which would be getting us, there we go. Yeah, all the way back up here at 47,055. Okay. 600 points, you know, we could easily get a little bit of that back today, and on good news tomorrow with the CPE numbers, we could definitely get back up there and tap the all-time highs again. So we've had our one push down on the 15, two pushes down, and this was our third push down right into the liquidity that I expected for us to come to and possibly start the buy side of the market maker model back up. Um, you know, that's still not confirmed. I would really want us to see us break this structure up here and then maybe have a pullback and then start heading back up again before I feel really confident about that. Or if we get a 15-minute fair value gap at the 50% level on the way back up. So if we get a bullish gap here, then I would also be confident in the fact that we're going to go and break these highs up here. So I'm not done trading yet. I know it's close to 11 o'clock, but I'm going to see if, we've got a couple of 50% levels coming up here. Um, if we can fair value gap above the 50% level on the 15-minute gap or 15-minute DRT range, then we certainly could get back up to the 15-minute 200 today, but we'll just have to see. But I wouldn't mind still taking longs here, especially once the 9 and the 21 get above the 2-minute 200. We've still got a lot of resistance up here above us. Um, So, it is gonna be interesting to see. I mean, our buy side liquidity is all the way up here at 494. Um, yeah, and that's gonna be 494 up around these highs, which is where I said I would like to see us break through. Um, we could swipe that buy side liquidity, have a bit of a pullback, and then start to hit higher again. So swiping that liquidity, pull back below the 50%, and then gap up through that 50%, and this 50% is what I would like to see. Are we going to have that strong of a market today? It doesn't look like it. So that might be something we could look for tomorrow. Uh, you know, so just kind of playing around in here today, maybe swiping that high and coming back down, and then tomorrow we get good news and we gap through that, and then we could be looking at that point to be heading all the way back up to all-time highs again. So if I do get another trade today, you know, good to good to know, or good to take, get a little bit of our losses back again. But if not, I'm not that worried about it. Uh, we've got some, good news coming out tomorrow as well, which will give us some more volatility tomorrow. We are coming into a narrow range here on the 2-minute chart. Um, yeah, Chris, you're still here. Um, so we are coming into a narrow range, uh, a narrow state on our SMAs here. So if we can get a power bar off of this, um, you know, certainly would be looking to trade in that direction. So maybe we get the power bar to go back down, uh, but I would be thinking more of a power bar to go up since we do have this 15-minute inverted gap here now. So my guess would be if we do get a power bar, it's going to be to the upside to take out some of these inverted gaps up here. So let's just keep an eye on that. I would love to see some consolidation here to make 5, 6, 7 small bars, but it may not. And we just came back down and uh, touched this inverted gap and rejected off of it. Uh, so we could get our power bar right off this area. So we had a break above, we're back below. Everything's narrowing down. We've had 1, 2, 3 tries. Uh, so this would be our last 5 candles here. If we break above that with a very strong bar, um, we could definitely take another long there. That would have to be a manual trade because I don't know if we'll get an actual signal off of Riptide there. Um, but we'll have to see. I'd love to see it still consolidate here for a few more minutes, and then in the last portion of this 15-minute candle, um, have a nice push up for that power bar. if we can't invert this, we do have a pretty nice dealing range today. So our dealing range is what? Or not dealing range, initial balance. Our initial balance is 224 points. We literally could just range uh, in between the low and high of that initial balance. Um, with more news coming out tomorrow and being the end of the week. Um, so, you know, I'm not against uh, taking shorts here either. In fact, we haven't pushed hard off of VWAP. If we could get back down to here to retest the 9, I'm going to go ahead and try this short that we're about to print. We're in the last, getting close to the last half of this 15-minute bar. We're not breaking uh, above the initial balance. There's a fair value gap there as well. We definitely could come down and retest the midline of this bullish fair value gap at 329, which would certainly give us enough room, or even the midline of the inverted gap at 362, which is still, you know, 20 points away. And to why didn't? Oh, because we turned it on after the signal printed. I bet. Um, so I am going to. Hmm, that's hard. I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock. Do we break out of initial balance with the London close, or do we head back down and just range inside of the initial balance today? Um, we haven't gotten back up into premium pricing yet. So there, around 50% there. Let's turn shorts off. I'm not going to take this signal either. Um, I may manual enter this trade if we get a good power bar to close above the range, which isn't going to happen. We'll see. We got 30 more seconds. Doesn't look like it's going to be that strong of a bar. So, still not interested in anything here yet. It's just really hard. I can make a good argument here for longs and shorts. So typically when you could do that, I just don't really want to get into a trade. Um, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. Uh, I know what I do need to get rid of though is our 5-minute range. We have broken above the 5-minute range, but not with a fair value gap. Uh, so higher time frames is a little tough for me to figure out. I'm gonna step away just so I can quit looking at the charts for a minute, and I'll be back and see what happens. So what do we got going on? Looks like we might be inverting this 15-minute fair value gap as well. We got 3 minutes 40 seconds left. We are above initial balance, at least for the time being. That is a rebalance of that fair value gap at least. I'd like to see it inverted. We did break above. I really want to get rid of these labels. They get in my way. We did break above the range. We come back into it here. Back below initial balance again. I gotta see some power here. Nothing's telling me yes or no. Hmm. 22 seconds. We're gonna invert the gap. Nope. $11 o'clock, so London close is starting. Mm. Mm. All right, I'm gonna manually enter short here. See if we can't get back to the 9, back into this fair value gap. I know we're at VWAP. All right. Now I'll close the trade there. That got back most of our losses. We just came back down into the midline of this bearish, bullish fair value gap. I don't know if we're going to go much further than that. That is also 50% of the push up on the 15-minute chart. Um, we could come down into the 70, rebalance the gap completely, or even completely fall over here. But I'm not sure which way that's going to go or what's going to happen. But I'm pretty happy that we've gotten about $400 of our losses back. Um, so the reason I manually entered that short was that we didn't really have a power bar. Uh, I mean, if you count both of these bars together, I think, God, damn labels are still in my way. I mean, I know that was a down bar. I don't know if this one was up or down, um, just because of the way Riptide colors them. But if you count both of those bars right there as down bars, which this one I'm sure was because we opened here, then you have a pretty decent sized candle. Uh, and you can combine these in the system that I use. And we did close below the lows, and we created a fair value gap. Now, I entered before we created the gap, but I was looking for it to do just that and ready to stop out pretty quick if it didn't. So we did create the gap, and then we had our push through, which was nice. Took a couple of contracts off once we got past 10 ticks of profit, um, and then just held that last contract till we got to the midline of that fair value gap. So I don't know what the market's going to do from here. I don't even really have an idea. Um, from the looks of this bar, we could just range inside of this uh, initial balance today. So, and if that's the case, I hate ranging days. Um, I don't usually trade them very well. So I am, unless we get a powerful push uh, outside of the initial balance, maybe this afternoon, I probably will not be taking any more trades. I will keep the charts up here in the lounge if anybody wants to watch them. Um, and I will be back in the afternoon. Also, for everyone that's in here at the moment, if you see my microphone muted, that means I am not at my desk. Um, so when I come back to look at price action this afternoon, then uh, you will see me unmute myself, and I will be back at the desk to see what price action is doing, uh, and see if we might be able to catch one more trade in the afternoon action. Sometime between 1 o'clock and 2:30 is pretty much when I'm looking to do that, uh, catch a trade. So, oh, shit. I guess it would help if I unmuted myself. Usually between 1 o'clock and 2:30 is when I'm looking to catch an afternoon trade if we're going to trade in the afternoon. So I will definitely be back around that time and see if price action has set up at a point where I think we can catch a nice little trade, maybe actually make a couple $100 on the day instead of being down 55. Um, so I'm going to take my lunch break, everybody, and I will see y'all later. Yeah, no worries, Dean. All right, everybody. I'm going to cut the YouTube off here. Um, so I'm not going to leave, this live stream going all day long. I may trade in the afternoon. I may uh, come back live, but if I don't come back live on YouTube, I will definitely see everyone tomorrow. Anyone who stopped in and watching, I certainly appreciate it. And we will see y'all tomorrow, if not this afternoon.